Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting list video. Today we are back to cards that define each class. We are on Mystic, some would argue the most exciting class with the most variety in their assets.
I don't think anyone would argue that.
I don't think so either.
Anyway.
No. But we're going to dive in. We still have 3 cards for each of us. Let's just dive in with Bryn's number 1, which is...
I got Guts.
It's not purple card, Bryn.
Yeah, but purple is defined by brain good. Guts give you 2 brain for free. Thus, Guts good.
Guts is good, man.
Yeah.
It's not purple. Well, I mean, it is a purple card, just later. Yeah, okay, no, you're good.
Like, it is a purple card.
I mean, I think this fits with the Bryn thesis because Emergency Cash was a rogue card, right? So, you know, this is a... I mean, and also I think I wouldn't see Bryn just play this in a rogue deck. You'd play this in a Mystic deck.
I mean, like, why would you play this when you're like 2 + 1 is 3?
Yeah.
Like,
when you can go...
When you could go 2 + 5 is 7.
Yeah. Or 2 + 6 is 8.
That's just so much better.
Well, it's better.
That's a bigger number.
It's a 200% increase in your brain score.
Yeah, and then you're going to draw the card because you're going to pass the test now.
Does this one work better for you because it eventually does turn into a purple card?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I like that.
All right. Sweet. All right. My number 3 is none other than Shriveling. This also includes Rite of Seeking, Divination, not Brandicathuga. I like Brandicathuga, so it's not going to get roasted with all these other ones. Whatever the Mystic one in Innsmouth is, the Apocalypse Armageddon.
The Armageddon. Yeah.
The Eye of Truth.
No,
it's the
I have Chaos.
I have Chaos.
Truth is the yellow one.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah.
We have the
It's a much better card.
Clairvoyance. We have Azure Flame. We have Mists of Relia. We have that one that ever
Shadows.
Shroud of Shadows. Ineffable Truth. The one that always says is like an actually good evade spell. But if I have to like evade an enemy with a spell, I kind of want to die inside. These are just like the Mystic cards that like the assets that you need to play the Mystic class. It kind of like they are the thing. They're a version of them in every cycle that has existed and unfortunately probably will continue to exist because of the fact that a clue getting one wasn't included in the core set.
Yep. That was a really weird one.
That was kind of like, that was definitely, I think, I would love to have been changed.
You want yellow to have a clear defined role, which is to be necessary.
Yeah.
If you're playing with core set cards.
And as Travis said too, it made it so that, especially also with Agnes's ability, Mystics were kind of just like here to kill things. Like that was their job, right? But really their job is the fact that they can kind of do everything with their brain, which is what these cards define for me. I do enjoy that at least in Scarlet Keys we got an interesting version of them because I do kind of go cross-eyed reading these. I get bored of them. Like this is especially true for
we got interesting ones at Edge of the Earth too. They've been doing a pretty good job on that.
Yes, that is true. So like hopefully it keeps going forward like this more in the future because I also can't imagine, but I don't know. Just like another version of Shriveling, I'm like, oh boy. I also hate that, like, I understand the difference for them. Like Azure Flame versus Shriveling, where the difference is a different, like, trigger and damage form. But then if you switch between them, which cards like Sign Magic want you to do, or just like having multiple spells, and you're like, I drew a skull on this, this was my Shriveling test, I'm going to take a horror, and then you forget about it for like the Azure Flame. It's just, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I think it's fair though that these cards like pretty much are the Mystic class, because that's kind of their identity, right? All right, Travis, your number 3 is...
Oh, it's True Magic. Yeah, so this does a lot of things for me that shows a lot of parts of purple to me. We got like Relics and Tomes, something to care about a little bit. It takes up an arcane slot, even though it's a book, which is something that purple cards also do. They take up arcane slots semi-arbitrarily. Commits for 3 brain, which is a lot. Purple likes to commit for brain and wild because your other stats don't matter if they're not brain. And it cares about spell cards, which is huge for purple. Mystics care about spells. That's their thing. It's like the defining class feature. And the other niche that this fills for me for purple is like they're kind of dumb bullshit that they do, where they get like weird cards like this and Time Warp, and they just they lead to a bunch of rules ambiguity, and they like, you read them and they're cool, and then you play with them and they're like not good. It feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah, there are kind of those, like, the mystic cards that I forget exist. Like, every time, like, someone points me to Fish Book, I'm like, oh yeah, Fish Book. Right?
Yeah, they do lots of like this, and then you got Shine Traps of Fusion. You read that, and you're like, that doesn't seem so
Flute
bad.
of the Outer Gods.
Yeah, you try to play them or build around them, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah. That's very fair. I think that's very fair. And it's kind of one of those things too, because they're kind of like wonky. It means it's so just like, if you want to like play like Travis and I play, you look at them and you're like, I guess I'm just gonna like play Shriveling and Brandicathuga, and then I'm gonna play I'm gonna play the new one Cage of the Soul that lets me play another copy of Brandicathuga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Brandon, your number 2 is.
I got the Holy Rosary. It's the second verse, same as the first. Actually, this one's probably a little bit better.
Yes.
Not a little bit worse. Brain good.
Brain good.
A lot of purple characters only have 4 brain, and 4 brain is not enough. You need 5 brain. Pretty badly, actually.
Yeah.
To make most of the game work, especially at the low experience levels. And this is an easy, relatively cheap way to do that. It even soaks some horror for you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, like, it's in every Mystic deck pretty much. Like,
yeah, like maybe Holy Rosary isn't, but
Crystal Pendulum, as
like
you
you're
said.
playing Crystal Pendulum, or you're playing the Book and Brain one, St. Hubert's Key. Something like you're playing a card that does this.
Yeah, the thing that takes up the accessory slot that gives you more brain.
Yeah, like it is a thing that you are likely doing.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing something real weird.
Yeah, like pretty much cover every part of the card except the.
You get +1
like,
brain.
What I'm seeing right now is like, oh my god, that's every Mystic card I've seen in my entire life. Oh, that's great. All right. My number 2 is Spectral Razor. Read the Signs could also be here, but when I think of Mystics, I also think of bombastic, really strong effects at level 0 that happen once and then are gone. And like obviously there's the whole add your brain to it that kind of permeates throughout the entirety of the Mystic class.
Yep.
But like Spectral Razor is a very, very strong level 0 spell. Like we all love it when someone Spectral Razors an enemy engages with us and the enemy's dead.
It and gun them and you're like, yeah.
Because like Spectral Razor does a freaking lot for a level 0 card. And I think this is something that is very unique to the Mystic class, right? Because they get to do something nice and big. They get to like pass it 100% of the time because their stat value is going to be so good. Because this engages an enemy and deals 3 damage. That's essentially 3 actions in 1 card.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a very strong effect, and that's like kind of like what Mystics are to me. They're the cards that like they're the class that more often than not when I draw a card I'm like, let's go, that card's great, because it's probably my Shriveling's already in play and the stuff I need to like function is there. And then you get like the spell slinging side of it, which I think is a really cool part of the Mystic class and the actual like enjoyable part of it to me. All right, Travis, you're number 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's Steel of the Seventh Sun.
This card is cool.
Yeah. So, there's a Ritual, which is the other card type that purple gets a lot of, but you're not allowed to interact with this one. It seals the autofail, 7 charges, and then it goes away, runs out of charges, and forced after someone reveals token, you remove a charge from it. So, the parts purple that I see in this is, it's good at saying no to the game, with the sealing of the autofail. It cares about the other tokens. Say it punishes you for drawing the bad tokens, but not all purple cards do that anymore. They've really moved away from that, even though that was the case early in the game's life cycle. Yeah, it cares about them in general. This cares about the charges on it. Lots of purple cards can replenish those charges, and I mean, like the True Magic also had charge on it, I guess. But it also has like the hallmark high level purple symbols that commit for a brain and wild, and that's it, because those are the only symbols you can find. Yeah, and it takes up arcane slot because they all gotta take up arcane slots, man.
Yeah. I like this as well because it has like the token manipulation part of it, which is very Mystic class. And then also like apart from like for sealing too, that's pretty much very Mystic apart from like a few small things that are kind of just like, because there's like the rite of sanctification. There is
Yeah, but those don't care about like stealing. They're not like actually affecting the chaos
exactly
bag.
yeah.
Really,
They're kind of just like
they're using the blessing curse as a resource.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that feels very, and it is like it's one of those things too that you like. The other thing I think that defines the Mystic class for me is really cool art on their high level stuff. That's like this. Because I like this kind of thing where it's like, who's that peeking through? I don't like him. You know, I hope he's not here, right?
Pick up the glass shards. Like, let's just put these back.
Get me more charges, please. Yeah, definitely. All right. On to our number ones. Bryn.
I got Ward of Protection. This is probably the purple card that I've seen played the most because I don't really play with purple cards too much. Probably since like last time I played either Safina or Dexter, but they're really like they're green.
Yeah.
The purple cards are just something that happens.
Who did you play in our All Mystic run again? Do you remember?
It was a Dexter.
I think it was Dex.
That makes sense, yeah. I played Jim. Do you remember that, Travis?
I do remember that. I don't remember what I played though.
No, I played... No, that's a draft I played Akachi. I have so many bad experiences with Mystics.
Yeah. Anyway, this one it just shows up all the time. You're drawing your card off the top of the deck, and your teammates are like, "What does it do?" And you put it in the discard pile, and you pick up one of your yellow dice, and you go to put it on a thing, and they're like, "No, don't do that. That's bad. That takes away a turn from all of us. I don't want you to do that."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, okay, but what if this had hurt only me?" And they'd be like, "No,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. You deal with you problems.
Yeah.
I'll deal with problems that are your problem, but also my problem."
Yeah. Mostly my problem.
Yeah.
You're just there too.
Yeah, this actually just gives me another turn. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, to go back to your comment about having only bad experience with Mystics. I also don't play Mystics that often, but every time I do, I have a great time.
Yeah, no, that's...
Like last time I played one was Diana, and I was just like, yeah, the game can't hurt me. I'll take my 3 clues and go home.
Yeah, because I've definitely had, like,
Played
enjoyable
Luke, and I
time
was like, yeah.
playing Mystics. Like, I have good story. Like, Parallel Agnes, I really like Parallel Agnes. But, like, most of my moments where I look back and I was like, I contributed nothing to the game, or I, like, the wheels came off and I just, like, watched my fucking car just explode. It's been a Mystic Investigator. Yeah.
You know?
And Bryn just doesn't play them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
unnatural to have a brain
need,
score that high.
I don't need temptation
Investigators
to
are
build a deck that might not do anything
Yeah.
if I draw the wrong parts of it, because that's all my decks. So
Well, you know.
I don't need extra ways to make that happen.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going with my number 1, which is Deny Existence number 5. This could have been a Ward of Protection, but this to me is like another copy of Ward of Protection in a way. But for what this represents for me to Mystics is saying no, and then turning that no into like an absolute yes.
But cheating, but like in a fair way.
Yeah, but then also like the 5 experience, high experience cost cards that you're going to be wanting to run this eventually in your deck, and this also then kind of extends into things like arcane research and down the rabbit hole, where like the experience is actually like part of the experience of the Mystic class. Cards bonkers. I hate also like I just hate how. To what you were saying earlier, how like the cards that kind of like break the rules, how you can stop some weaknesses like Diana's and Sister Mary's kind of seems to defeat the purpose of something called a signature weakness. But that's like like that's kind of like a conversation that we've had before, and we'll probably have again in the future. It just feels a little bit strange to me.
It is really weird. They're like, they count as encounter cards even though they have player card backs. Like, is that not supposed to be sort of the differentiation there?
Yeah, no, I mean, it should just say, like, non-weakness. It would be, like... my favorite use of Deny Existence...
It should be encounter cards, man.
My favorite use of Deny Existence is I like the whole... Like, the one that feels the best to me is when an enemy attacks you and you... do the opposite.
You just juice yourself back up.
Because like there's those dreams like you did it where it was like discard cards from your hand, but then you draw that many instead. Like those feel great.
Like, well, no.
But like the ones that really make me like that deny existence, I think really shine are how this card can work outside of the Mythos phase, which kind of just shows like that there's just general protection that the Mystics can provide with their card effects. This one is only to you. If this was to anybody, this card would be even more crazy.
It would actually be insane. Yeah, like someone you're playing Forgotten Age or whatever, and someone stumbles on one of those locations. It's like lose remaining actions. And you're like, no, take another turn instead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
You're ridiculous.
It's a good card and very mystic. Very mystic.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, Travis, close us out with
Aura Protection level 5 that commits for a brain in the wild. So they all need to, apparently.
Just in case you didn't want to play them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically here for the exact same reasons that their ones were here. You're just saying no to the game, like pretty well unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
The game tells you to do something, you're like, no, I'm not going to. I'll take one horror instead and go on with my life. Stops enemies.
Stops enemies. Yeah.
Stops any kind of treachery you might draw. Doesn't help your teammates, but that's okay. And yeah, like Justin said, cost 5 experience. You'll notice that my 3 cards all cost 5 experience. It is a very mystic thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. This card also eats surge effects, too.
It does.
Because it just cancels everything.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't say it's Revelation effect. It's all of its effects.
Yeah. And yeah, this one we don't play it a lot because we play 3 players. But like in 2 or 1 player, this card is... Like, this is an upgrade you'd see more.
Yeah, I think the only time I've actually played this was in that Diana Stanley deck, and it was incredible. I had no regrets.
Oh, yeah.
For playing it over the level 2 version.
Yeah. Let's see what I forget which one because it was so long ago that I made this for the Patreon. It's Power Word.
Interesting.
It's my favorite example. Oh, this is from Spencer. My favorite example how Mystics aren't playing the same game as everyone else. Fulfills the fantasy of pursuing arcane strategies to meet your goals. This is just solving problems directly like other classes, and it just feels good.
Fair.
I think Power Word does live in that world where you were talking about how like the weird part of it. Like they definitely have like apart from like maybe Survivor, the most weird cards.
Yeah, like so Survivor gets like the effects that just
don't live anywhere
yeah,
else.
they're like just kind of the dumping yard. But Purple gets like the effects that kind of bend the game's rules.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. Yeah, 100%. Sweet. So the next one we got here is the Guardian one. So that'll be a fun time. So we can talk about that. I don't like Guardian.
Why not?
Because they're so boring.
You're boring.
Maybe I am.
If you put 9 XP into this, can you turn it into a Power Word kill?
That's a good joke. That's clever. That's clever. So we will see you all very soon. What are cards that define the Mystic class to you? Have a great one. And as always, GG's.